Hello, happy Wednesday, and happy, I'm going to say, start of the MLB season in air quotes. As of 6 a.m. this morning, if you are a true sicko in the head, you woke up to watch that game, the start of the game. I caught about an inning and a half during my morning dad duties. But yes, the Dodgers and the Padres kicked off the MLB season. And Renee, we sit here this morning on March 20th, 8 days away from Phillies opening day next Thursday.
Ocho.
It doesn't seem real, but it is almost here.
Finally, it does feel like we've been talking about this for so long. We are down to single digits, 8 days. We are officially in spring. We are officially in baseball season. It is official. I mean, what else can we say?
I got the free Ritas yesterday. I took the girls.
Oh, you did?
I went mango. Skylar went Sour Patch Watermelon, which is quite tasty. And Paige went blue raspberry.
Yeah.
I'm a big mango guy.
I like the blue raspberry and mango. Those are good choices.
I went black cherry the week before I left.
Okay.
So I front-ended and back-ended my trip to Florida with some Ritas for the girls.
And also with Jamie, we're having quite some conversations in the chat. You guys all need some Miller Lites, apparently.
Okay.
It's never too early for some Miller Lite.
No, it's not. It's what are we panicked about here? What's going on?
I don't know. Well, first of all, Chris, congrats on being number one. First in the chat. Nice to have Chris J, Dave P, John Tequila, K Red. Happy Wednesday. I don't know. We're talking about bananas. We're talking about the over-under of you having the odds of you having Starbucks.
Okay. I'm gonna just
throw it out there.
Address this issue. I will be back on my iced coffee thing soon. But my wife yesterday basically was like, "Yeah, kids are all yours. See ya." And a lot of stuff had to be done. Laundry had to be put away. Cleaning needed to be done. And I forgot to make my iced coffee this morning. I was running late. Again.
Sounds like a lot of
cap.
So excuses.
I will be back. I promise I will be back on my homemade iced coffees tomorrow because it has been a long week of buying too expensive of coffees, and that's why you should go to Bagels & Co. where their coffee is actually just normally priced.
Well, I'm sorry to Dave in the chat John, who's having a banana issue for lunch.
Sounds like a personal issue, John.
Super personal.
I wouldn't come into a YouTube chat to talk about my banana issues, but that's just me. I'm built different. But best of luck to your banana, John. So last night we had our first ever Die Hard and show hosts fantasy baseball draft. I don't know if anybody in the chat is a part of the league, but it was a lot of fun to hop into the fantasy baseball chat last night. And I woke up this morning thinking about 2 picks I missed. They're still kind of eating me up. I don't have a Philly on my team. Bryson Stott was taking 2 picks before I was about to take him. And my wife looked at me and she goes, "What are you trying to prove something by not having a Philly?" And I was like, no, it just hasn't fallen that way. But the 2 that I woke up this morning still angry about was Luis Robert, who I missed, and also Jackson Holiday, who I just completely brain farted on and missed as my second baseman. So, Renee, you get to feel the regret and anxiety of a fantasy draft, but it was a lot of fun to get in there with some of the listeners and draft a team. And I absolutely hate my team, which I think means my team might be good.
I don't know how to feel about my team. I had a tactic. I don't know if it's a good tactic. We'll find out. I was going for versatility. I did get 2 Phillies. I got Bryce Harper and Whit Merrifield. So I got the ultra utility man. And I wanted to make sure everybody I had was a stud at one position, but also solid another. Led off with Mookie Betts.
Mookie and Bryce is a pretty good one too.
Yeah. I've got Will Smith. I've got Craig Seager. I've got a solid list. I don't know. I really have no idea how this is going to roll out, but we'll see. My pitching group, I think, could have been a little bit better.
I went heavy on the pitching.
Yeah, see, I didn't, and I kind of regretted that.
I see 2 or 3 positions on my offense where I go, that's disgusting, because I just had such slim pickings.
My batting order is going to be great. I think my pitching is going to be pretty
Tyler,
and by the way, we have, I don't know about which league it was in, so I'm like, quote, commissioner of both leagues, so I can see all the transactions. We have a trade in one of the leagues already.
Yeah,
I need to make a trade. I know, Dave, you're saying if I need a pitcher, hit you up. I think I need a better.
You and Dave are not in the same league, so it's not going to work.
He's in the Zach,
Join my
Bo,
league so
John,
I can
and
trade
Tyler
with you.
league.
Yeah, he is an East though.
Yeah.
But that was one of the areas I didn't feel like I did as well.
Yeah, if somebody needs a pitcher, I'm open for discussions. You never say no to anybody. Tyler, how did the draft go with you, John, Zach, Bo, and the rest of the listeners?
Pretty happy with my team. A couple guys that like always in a draft that you kind of miss out on or are 2 picks ahead. Zach Berman is the ultimate Q thief.
Yeah, I hear there's some beef between you and Zach.
No, it's just Zach had a really nice draft, and it was like every time it would cycle through where he had a pick before me in the round, he took a guy that I was queuing up, but he had a really good draft. I doubled up on Mariners starting pitching, so either it's going to be really good or really bad. I ended up with Kirby and Logan Gilbert. So
I did that a couple times. I got Arenado and Goldschmidt, and I got 2 pitchers together.
Overall, pretty happy with my team.
All right. You did inform me that I have a decent, they grade the drafts. And I was like, Tyler, I hate my team. And he goes, well, actually, you have one of the better odds to make the playoffs.
Yeah, Jamie has a 61% chance to make the playoffs.
What are my odds?
I didn't look at yours. I just saw Jamie's because he was that high.
My belief is when you hate your team, whether it's fantasy football, baseball, basketball, if you hate your team and you go outside your comfort zone, I feel like you do well. You guys know I don't
thrive in these types of situations.
Now I
had a minute on the clock.
Now you got to find her number because
I had a minute on the clock. And for anybody that has tuned into our previous guest that stands, trivia, anything, like when the time is ticking, I struggled. And as it was getting to like the final 10 seconds, it was like, boom, boom, doing the red.
The countdown.
Oh, God. I was panicking. I was just clicking. And then also I had my cue and I had all the guys ready of like what position I wanted to target next or what I wanted to do next. And typically the guy that I was looking at would be gone and then I'd be stuck panicking. No matter how much I try to prepare, 20 picks in between. I'm like, I got time. Like research my next queue of guys. Didn't matter, and I don't know.
My hot take while Tyler gets this number is that fantasy baseball to me is more enjoyable than fantasy football.
Oh.
I love fantasy baseball.
Okay.
All right, Tyler, did you find the odds here?
Yes. So, Jamie, you are number 1 in your league with percentage chance to make the playoffs.
And you hate your team.
Yeah. At 61%.
All
right.
Renee.
Oh, no.
Wait.
Oh, no.
All right, so if I give you a number, you tell me over under.
Oh,
if
God.
I give you
Am I close to Jamie?
Percentage chance to make the playoffs, I'll give you 54.5. You taking the over or the under?
Gosh, I hope I'm over.
You were at 50% chance to make the playoffs.
Okay. I never got a 50% in my life.
The worst.
How's our own Vince Pellegrini?
The worst playoff percentages belong to Vince, who is projected to have a 30% chance to make the playoffs.
Ooh, so
I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm 31% better chance to make the playoffs than Vince. No big deal.
In the other league, let's see who. I have a 58%.
Okay.
Foley has a 59%.
Oh. He stole a pick from you, didn't he?
Yeah, he got Adley Rutschman around before I was ready to take him. Zach, who I thought had a really good draft, only has a 47%.
Ooh.
Oh, and he took a lot of your guys.
Bo is also at 50%.
Okay.
Bo and I coming in for the win.
And I did not realize during this process that Bo played some high school baseball as well as Zach.
Amongst every team in both leagues, Jamie, you have the highest percent chance to make the playoffs.
No big deal, but kind of a big deal, Renee. You know what I mean?
Well, Jay's calling you out, saying you're high because nothing beats fantasy football.
See, here's where I think it's better. I think there's so much luck involved with fantasy football, especially when you come to playoff time. There's skill, but I think there's more skill involved with fantasy baseball. The waivers, I think, are a little bit more fun. I think there's more skill involved with fantasy baseball than football. I love fantasy football. Don't get me wrong. But fantasy baseball, like I just did a draft last night for another league I've been in for 22 years or something.
Jeez.
And it goes way back, and there's insane rules, and none of it makes sense, and it's some good fun. So last night was the first ever Die Hard fantasy draft, and it was a blast.
You survived.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the season ahead and who wins. It'll be a good time. So let's get to Philadelphia Phillies talk because they do play baseball in 8 days.
Woo, woo. Ocho.
Now, I would say kind of the big news here is actually what came out this morning from Matt Gelb of The Athletic. And then we'll get to Bryce and Orion, some minor roster moves they made. The performances yesterday, that one little adorable Ranger, we're going to give him some love. Don't you worry. But this morning, Matt Gelb. Did you see the picture John posted yesterday?
Yes.
He had a huge smile on his face walking through that dugout.
Ranger.
I do love him.
And when we saw Ranger in person, Jamie was like,
look at him. He's adorable. So Matt Gelb this morning put out a piece about the basically the one topic that is interesting about this 26-man opening day roster, position battles, whatever you want to call it. There's basically like one bullpen spot up for grabs, whether they go Jose Ruiz or whatever. But the interesting one is the center field one. We've talked about it. Matt Gelb says this in The Athletic, but center field is the focus. There could be a verdict later this week, manager Rob Thompson said. The club, according to team sources, is still leaning in Rojas's direction. Oh, I thought you said
that was me cracking my knuckles.
Oh, there are arguments for keeping Rojas and demoting him to AAA, and all of those scenarios were discussed on Tuesday morning. No decision has been made. The Phillies will continue to monitor Rojas's at-bats. He chased some pitches in his hit list for at-bats on Tuesday's scoreless tie with the Tigers. He is hitting 156, 174, 267 this spring. Our own Rich Hoffman in the daily newsletter this morning. And by the way, if you haven't signed up for Rich's newsletter, I would highly encourage you to do it. It's free, won't cost you nothing, and it's got tons of links. It's funny, it's informative. So definitely sign up for Rich's newsletter on allphly.com. Rich kind of had this same discussion. He was like, look, spring training is spring training. We know the rules. If it's negative, throw it out. If it's great, the person's going to be MVP or Cy Young. This is a situation that I do think Rojas is going to get the opening day start. But as Rich says in the newsletter, at some point this becomes, a results-based business, and a sub 500 OPS is a sub 500 OPS at some point. Mm-hmm. So Johan, he's got the spotlight on him to start the year, and how he's going to perform. It looks like he's going to get the edge.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a toss-up. I know we've been talking about it so much. You really have no idea how it's going to pan out. I know there's a lot of people on both sides of the coin for whether or not Yoro should get the start. And I think he's been actively working hard to improve in areas. It's so tough to be honest, it's tough to know if he is or is not ready, because of course his spring training numbers haven't been great, but we also know he's changing so many little things that we haven't even seen him consistently implementing the same changes. I mean, I don't know. I'm all for giving him the start. He obviously is going to give you a great opportunity in center field. And then on the batting side, hopefully now season is underway. He's got the spring training struggles out and we'll be fine and ready to go come start of the season. And then if not, you can always pivot and make an adjustment. But I think it doesn't hurt to give him the start, because he also is someone that you're just needing a little bit from. You're not requiring. You don't.
Yeah,
need
the
him.
defense is going to be there. That's
exactly,
a standard.
Exactly. So I'm all for Yoro. I'm a Yoro fan, and that's why he got the nickname Yoro. And I'll give him the start. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, Zalewski said yesterday, if they didn't go Rojas, they would probably lean Marsh in center with Witt in left. But you really want Witt to be that part-time player.
And that's the other part of this. It's not just about Johan. It's also the fact that you don't want Witt you don't want to have to overextend him. You don't even want to have to overextend Marsh too early, because yes, he's come back pretty quickly, but you don't want to overextend anybody. So if you have to rely on them heavily, you slide Marsh to center field, you put Witt out there, it just changes things. So I know in the chat, you guys are saying, Kai, you're saying start Pache. It's nothing personal. It's business. It's definitely not personal. But I think it is between Pache and Yoro or Witt, Marsh, whoever. You know what you're going to get from either one of them. It's...
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see.
It's tomato, in my opinion.
There's a scenario where they do walk away from Christian Pache. We'll see. I wouldn't want to give up on a kid like that. I'd love to have him as a bench piece because I think he's taken some strides since he's been here and in the system. But there is a world where they release Christian Pache and Jake Cave is your outfielder. We'll see. They started to trim the roster a little bit yesterday. Rob kind of talked about that on his interview with WIP the other day. He said, if it wasn't for the bug that kind of swept through the locker room, they might have trimmed it down already. But if you missed it yesterday, guess what, gang? Austin Bryce isn't going to hurt you anymore.
Yeah.
At least the big league club. Here's the roster tweaks that the Phillies made yesterday. Left-handed pitcher Colby Allard, which was one of the minor offseason moves. Relief pitcher Max Castillo, Rodolfo Castro, and Derek Hall were all optioned down to Lehigh Valley to get into the AAA camp. No surprises there. And then Austin Bryce, Ricardo Pinto, and catcher Cody Roberts were reassigned to minor league camp. So you take that 63-man roster and you've trimmed it down to probably that 55 area now. They had another trade with the Seattle Mariners. Tyler, some guy that I don't think is a real person. So they are doing the minor kind of fat trimming of the roster. Tyler, you don't even have to this guy isn't even worth. I had never even heard of him before.
I'll be honest, I didn't know they made a trade. I'm just looking for my own sake at this point.
I just heard Tyler in my head and I went, that's not a real guy. Yeah. So some minor league tweaks have come, and maybe by this Friday, maybe we see Bryce Harper in the lineup again, and maybe we have a more around 40 type of number for the roster.
Yeah, exactly. I know in the chat you guys are saying a bunch of different things. Zachary, what's up, Zach? You're mentioning, of course, the concern is that we've all talked about. Don't want the Phillies to get off to a bad start. So you're hoping that these opening day, moves, these roster, the way it's going to be constructed, it's going to allow them to start off strong. That obviously is a concern. And I know you guys are talking through, what's the difference of, Dave mentioning more confidence in Witt playing a whole year versus Rojas learning to hit. Or as Chris is saying, what's the difference from when he first came up in playoffs and now? Or is it just the pressure of having the job? Honestly, I do feel like for Johan specifically,
Major League Baseball is hard. That's the difference.
It is. Major League Baseball is hard. There is a lot of pressure on him. We have no concerns with him as a center fielder. It's all about his at-bats. And that's been the focal point. We've talked about it. He's talked about it. He's been asked about it. That's a lot. And that's why I kind of was okay with also giving him the opportunity from the start, allowing him to just, okay, we trust you. We've seen the progress, whatever progress that's been. We're going to give you the start from the jump because, we believe in you, versus moving him and maybe shaking up his confidence even more. And now you lose someone that's a fantastic center fielder. But also, as you mentioned, the bug that's gone around has hurt someone like Orion Kirkring, who's dealing with the flu. Bryce Harper, at least, is back in activity. That's a very big positive. So
yeah, he took some grounders yesterday. I think he did a little batting cage session. And hello, Mike, in the chat. No, Taijuan Walker is likely not going to be traded. Yeah. The only reason I think they would move on from Taijuan Walker is if John Middleton really slammed him down on the table and went and got Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah.
Other than that, no. Taijuan Walker is actually starting the game today for the Phils. So he, Taijuan Walker's. Look, is he overpaid? Probably slightly, but he's a good 4 or 5 to have. Like,
Taijuan
Walker ate a lot of innings for you.
And he also looks different.
Dude looks like a middle linebacker.
When we saw him at spring training and he walked by, of course he got his hair cut, so that looks different. But he looks a little bit, his shoulders and arms look a little bit more jacked. I don't know what he's been doing this offseason. Hopefully we'll get a better Taijuan Walker this year. I do want to talk about for Bryce real quick, because Major League Baseball put out a poll of the fiercest competitors across the league, and Bryce finished number 2, second fiercest competitor across the league, voted by players. The number 1, Max Scherzer, that was pointed out as the number 1, but an anonymous outfielder from the AL said that Harper's clutch factor and his ridiculous highlight reel, and of course that he's only ever heard good things about him as a teammate, puts him at that number 2 spot. But listen, we've got the second fiercest player across the league on our team. Get irrational now. But in all seriousness, it is great to see that he's already been able to get back and start doing some light activity. And these are the types of little things that you want to have happen, because it is I feel like this stretch, now that we're 8 days from opening day, is such a tough one of the burnout. Even kind of we're going through it as media of we've been so excited for the season to start. We're so close, yet still a little over a week away, and there's a lot of cramming and final things that you're doing. So Taijuan Walker's going to be there. Bryce Harper's going to be there. Yoro's going to be there. Listen, this is the reality, and we'll just see how things roll out and hope they start off strong. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. It's, Taijuan Walker isn't going anywhere. He can eat a lot of innings, and the dude looked physically ready to roll.
And you know where else you can eat a lot of great food, that is? Over at Factor Meal Kits. That's right. Factor Meal Kits provide you an opportunity to have food delivered right to your door, fresh, never frozen food that allows you to be able to meal prep in a way that you can have restaurant quality food delivered that you can heat up in just a minute or two and be ready to eat. The great thing about Factor Meal Kits are a couple things. One, they give you those 2-minute meals that allow you to fuel up. Again, restaurant quality. We're not talking frozen TV dinners. We're talking restaurant quality food that's freshly delivered. And you can also have a flexible schedule if ever needed to pause or you need to change the timing of when those meals are delivered to work best around your schedule. You're able to do so with Factor Meal Kits. They also provide you with a whole variety of food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They give you pancakes, smoothies, snacks. They also give you calorie-specific or keto diets, depending on what you're looking for. Protein Plus, if you're wanting to up the amount of protein in your diet each day. They have specific structured meal planning for you based off of your lifestyle. And then, of course, and as you're talking about Jamie needing to go grocery shopping and the rigor of the day, listen, we've got laundry, cleaning, cooking, all these things we have to do every day. Why not simplify one area? It never, ever ends. My fridge is empty as we speak. And with Factor Meal Kits, they take away the stress, the mess, the prep, the worry of what's for dinner, what's for breakfast, what do I have taste for today? Because they'll make sure to provide you with some great options to eat and also just simplifying and adding one less stress or taking away a stressor from your daily routine. So head on over to factormealkits.com/Phillies50. Use code Phillies50 to get 50% off. Again, that's code Phillies50 at factormealkits.com/Phillies50 to get 50% off and get started today. They've done the math. You can sign up and save. Factor Meal Kits is less expensive than takeout, and every meal is dietitian approved to be nutritious and delicious.
Everything's cheaper than takeout these days because in this economy,
so expensive.
Factor wants to be there for you. And you know who else wants to be there for you? Well, that's the cold, delicious, refreshing Miller Lite, because it's the beer drinkers' light beer, and a lot has changed over the years, but the one thing that hasn't is the great taste of Miller Lite, the original light beer, and to this day, still the best one. I've always been a Miller Lite man over the other light beer because it's consistent. I think some of the others kind of fluctuate in taste depending on can, bottle, sunlight. Miller Lite doesn't. Miller Lite's always there for you. It has the taste you want and a lot of the stuff you don't want. And when friends or family are around, whether you're at a ball game, down the shore, out by the pool, golfing, in the airport, traveling, wherever beer is sold, you can most likely find a Miller Lite, and you're going to get that same quality taste you know and have grown to love, because Miller Lite keeps it simple. Unbeatable quality, great taste, and only 96 calories. It's the light beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. A light beer that tastes like a beer. Simple, isn't it? Less filling and only 96 calories. The original light beer since 1975. And times change, but Miller Lite doesn't. And you can always enjoy the great taste of Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller time. Go to MillerLite.com/PHLY fills, and you can have Miller Lite delivered right to your door, or find it pretty much anywhere that beer is sold. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. And sometimes when Ranger Suarez takes the mound, I like to grab myself a nice cold Miller Lite. And, you know, my love of Ranger is known far and wide, and I don't care who knows it. Well, Ranger, are you doing jazz hands?
Well, I wanted to say Tyler, are you ready for this? We are 8 days away from opening day. Just a reminder, hit it.
I
don't think anybody knows what she's doing.
What is she trying to say?
Well, I feel like this is a great time to.
Do you want one of these? Like, are you looking for a spot?
Well, Tyler, now that it's here, let us mention where we'll be next Thursday. 8 days. Oh, the sound effects toys that you two discovered. Yeah. 8 days from now, we are going to be right down by the stadium with.
I'm going to get in trouble with those things.
Yeah, my old friends at Bet Park Sportsbook, right by the stadium there. We're going to be there from 1 o'clock till after the game. Me, Tyler, Renee, maybe John Foley will be stopping by, some of the other staff. We're going to have Miller Lite specials, and it's going to be a great time. We're going to be doing a watch party, a pregame show, and a postgame show to kick off the start of the regular season. So you can join us. There's a registration on allphly.com if you want to let us know you're coming. But it's open to all. The Miller Lights will be flowing. We'll be having a great time. So next Thursday, please think about joining us. If you're down, even if you can just swing by for a high five and a beer and a Go Phils, just stop on by and say hello. All right, back
brother.
What'd you say?
I think that was a Hulk reference.
I think that was a Hulk something brother. I think Renee's on mescaline today. What is going on over here?
Go on without me.
I don't know what's happening to my right. Your left, right? My right, your left. And she's gone, folks. Uh-oh. The nose snorting's coming out.
I'm sorry.
Tyler, did you spike her a drink this morning?
I don't know what happened.
I did have cereal for breakfast.
We were doing really well, and then all of a sudden,
I was just trying to.
Renee went on a sugar crash.
Yeah. What kind of?
I was trying to hype up what you were saying.
What kind of cereal did you go with, Renee?
Frosted Flakes.
Mescaline
I mean, I'm sorry,
Flakes?
Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops.
Ooh, that was one of my childhood
Flakes.
favorites.
Oh, yeah, I was going, yeah, brother.
You can go sit upstairs on the patio, brother. At Hulk's place every Monday. So if you're ever in Clearwater Beach, go watch that maniac sing karaoke every Monday.
So back real quickly, I don't know if you caught the conversation that Renee was having with the karaoke guy the bar that we were at. I think he was ready to fight Hulk Hogan.
Wait, what?
So when we were at the bar that we went to where the guy was doing karaoke, he was like, this used to be like I ran karaoke and then Hulk Hogan decided to take it over. And I'm like, this guy's going to try to fight Hulk Hogan.
Don't fight Hulk Hogan.
Oh, that
really
little
poor
guy?
decision. Yeah, it was not a very large guy. I mean,
no. Hulk would have dominated him.
The karaoke guy.
Yeah, do you remember that conversation?
He was like 5'0".
He was like, I used to have these. I used to like basically run karaoke in Clearwater Beach, and then Hulk Hogan's place decided to do it, and I'm like, sir, are you trying to throw hands with Hulk Hogan? Like this is not going to end well for you.
Yeah, don't pick that fight.
Don't do that, sir. We met you.
He's a cute little adorable older man.
Yeah, nice guy. But what's his name?
7.
Terry. What's Hulk's real name? Terry something.
I don't know.
I'm not a wrestling guy.
I said Terry Crews. That's not
Terry
his
Crews
name.
would have wrecked that guy too.
He also would have.
Yeah,
all the Terrys.
but don't-
Get all the Terrys
don't
out there.
pick that fight with
Bradshaw,
Hulk
Crews.
Hogan,
I can't think of Hulk Hogan's real name actually.
It's Terry something.
Bolia?
Yeah.
Bolia?
Bolia? Terry
know.
Bolia, I think it is. Anyway, back to somebody that matters to my heart. Not Hulk. I am not a wrestling guy. I know wrestling's popular. I don't mean to offend.
Gal.
I just never got it. But I did get Ranger Suarez, and he had some comments on MLB.com. I guess he was asked about a possible extension here with the Phillies, and this warmed my soul a little bit, Renee. He wants to be here. Here's the quote from Ranger.
Really for you, Jamie.
I've always been a Philly. I would like to remain a Philly, but the goal is to stay in the big leagues for as long as possible. Of course, I would like an extension, but when you get to that topic, that's not for me to handle. That's for my agents. What a perfect quote.
You're so in love.
I think all he needed to do to make it perfect for Jamie was like, and I watch PHLY every day.
And I get all my Phillies news from PHLY Phillies on YouTube.
I mean,
but Ranger, look, this is a huge year for him. We'll talk about his stats in spring because he pitched yesterday. I mean, the dude's perfect.
He's perfect.
Yeah.
Sure. Listen, we like Ranger. He's as you always say, adorable.
He's the best. Good vibes, good results. Pitches his best when it matters the most. How do you not love this guy?
I know. And I think he's perfect for us to highlight today because
he's perfect in every way.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like Factor, right, Renee?
Like what?
Like Factor.
Yeah.
Factor meal kits.
Yeah, that would have been a great segue. If
the two of you trying to prompt each other into reads is one of the things that I will never understand.
Wait, I already did the. What are you talking about?
We're talking about Ranger and spring training.
I don't know.
And
I feel like he was trying to prompt the read. Now you did Factor. I don't know what's happening right now, but yes, Jamie loves Ranger
clearly
a lot.
Because today's spring training takeaway is brought to you by Factor Meal Kits. Today's takeaways are presented by Factor. Use code Phillies50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and free wellness shots for life with any active subscription. Go to factormeals.com/Phillies50. Ranger did pitch yesterday. He did say he wants to be a Philly for life. And this dude is having a spring. Another scoreless performance yesterday. And Ranger so far this spring, remember, we didn't get Ranger last spring.
Correct.
World Baseball Classic injury and all that. So if Ranger can give you, 100 and let's say 60, 65 innings this year and back it up with the numbers he's shown you and stay injury free, this is a huge year for him and he's going to make himself some money. Here's his numbers in spring training thus far. 15 innings pitched. Only 5 hits allowed, 0 earned runs, only 4 walks, 16 strikeouts, a 0 ERA, a .60 whip, and his opponents are being held to a 102 average. You know the rules with spring training, folks. If they struggle, it means nothing. If they're great, go bet Ranger Suarez to win Cy Young right now at Bet Parks. With us next Thursday, maybe you can get that in. But the dude's had a literal perfect spring training.
Yeah, and listen, he mentioned in his last outing prior to yesterday's game, he gave up 4 walks. And he was like, so he wanted to make sure this time to attack the hitters, and that's what happened. And as you mentioned, those numbers are remarkable. But against Detroit, to have 1 single, strike out 4 in 5 innings, and continue to have the remarkable numbers, as you talk about, 4 walks, 16 strikeouts, 0 runs allowed. It's Ranger time. And also, he's been definitely pitching with a lot of confidence, he mentioned after the game. And he was saying, if you've got that confidence, it's going to work. And that worked for him. And for Rob Thompson, he talked about how Ranger's been having just the command. Of course, he's healthy, which is the most important thing, as you talk about. We didn't get a healthy Ranger last year.
Look at him. Look at him.
I love how you placed him over Jamie.
Oh, that was done intentionally.
Thank you. Let's get Jamie out of here.
I wish if I bring this smile to the PHLY offices daily that man
Can you
brings,
do that Ranger thing
that man brings to the Phillies dugout every day.
Just like smiling and hat on and hanging with friends.
They say Garrett Stubbs is the vibes officer. I don't buy it. I think Ranger's setting the vibes in there. He's so smiley.
So Rob was saying how one, of course, is the fact that he's healthy. I'm going to add in there the smiles. He didn't mention it, but I'm sure that's what Rob was insinuating is also important. He's bringing the smiles and the good vibes, clearly, Jamie. And also that his command's just been very outstanding and that he's had all his pitches going right. His breaking ball's been good. He's been, doing a lot. His 2-seam fastball has been steady with the great command. So we're seeing a healthy Ranger Suarez, which is why, as we are getting closer and closer to opening day, it's exciting that we're getting, without the World Baseball Classic, without, knock on wood, any major injuries, a healthier Phillies squad going into the season. So although there might be the question of who gets to start, is Yoro going to be on the roster or not? At the end of the day, you have a healthy Ranger Suarez, healthy Bryce Harper. The health is there.
We think healthy Bryce Harper.
I'm manifesting that he's healthy, guys.
Positive thoughts.
I'm gonna put all that positive.
He's gonna have to manage this the rest of his career. It's fine. It is
it's
what
also
it is.
part of just like getting older. Like you just have to.
Bryce, the 30s and
rough.
into your 40s.
It's rough.
It's I picked up my youngest yesterday, put her in the car, and my back just seized up. And it's not fun getting old. So Bryce, you're gonna have to manage that. But yes, it is an encouraging spring. I think this is the most exciting spring in a long time because it's been weird. Bryce was hurt last year. Reese goes down. You had the World Baseball Classic excitement. The year prior was still like weird COVID times.
Exactly. That's the other thing. This is the first normal spring training that
and
you've
everybody's
had.
healthy.
Bingo. So for that reason alone, I'm optimistic heading into opening day that this is going to be the year that they do not have a slow start. They do not put themselves in a hole that caused them to be chasing the Braves. But instead, the Phillies are going to be ready to go in 8 days. Hit the ground running. Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez. Hit the ground running. Bing, bang, boom. Pop. Psh.
You're making your own sound effects now. So yes.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
It's not even words can describe it.
Yesterday, the opening game starters were announced for the Braves and the Phillies. To the surprise of absolutely no one, Zach Wheeler is going to be facing off against Spencer Strider. And when you look at that, you probably have the 2 best pitchers in the NL kicking off the series, which is going to be pretty phenomenal. Now, the Braves are rat bastard cowards and have not announced games 2 and 3 for some unknown reason. Although I think we can speculate who's going to be in there.
Sure.
If they do something weird about having a home opener or starter, I don't know. We'll see. But you would think Game 2 is going to be Max Fried. Game 3 is potentially Chris Sale. We'll see what they do there. I don't know if they want to save one of those guys for back home or something. But the Phillies did announce Aaron Nola in Game 2. And in Game 3, it's going to be Ranger Suarez. Those cowards from Atlanta just have TBA up. To be announced, but I would assume it's Strider and Sale to keep their rotation, kind of in order there. But we'll see.
You may go. The one thing
they might save
to flip.
I'm so sorry.
It's not about saving. It's about
I'm looking at something online.
Splitting ready lefty. So if Strider goes 1 and Fried goes 2, they may go back to a righty. Which in that case, I would assume you're looking. I don't know. Is Charlie Morton ready to start the year?
I was looking at him last night in fantasy. I think he's ready to start the year. They could go Morton 3.
Right.
And save Sale for home.
Or, I don't know if he's going to make the team or not. You go A.J. Smith-Shawver.
Bryce Elder was sent down.
Bryce Elder was sent down.
So Smith-Shawver should be fine.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, do you think that he's a viable bullpen piece if they want to use him?
Charlie Morton pitched Saturday night in Grapefruit League action, so it looks like he's ready to go.
Yeah,
so there's a possibility
probably
Morton. 3.
And that's the thing. I feel like part of it is they legitimately don't know yet. They're still finalizing that detail.
No, they're cowards.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe not everybody's as fortunate as the Phillies. And
I think they got the Philly flu.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I think they got the Philly flu. And they're being cowards.
I mean, it's on brand. They like to make excuses about
the
playoffs and whatever else. But we did also get the pitching matchups for all the opening day lineups. Some exciting ones to look forward to. Of course, the most exciting one, Zach Wheeler versus Spencer Strider, as you mentioned. But there's some others. Nestor Cortez, I wear jean cleats, going up against Framber Valdez. For
Nestor
that
the molester. All right.
That too.
That's what his friends call him.
Okay. You've got Yu Darvish versus Tyler Glasnow.
Wait, you guys seriously hear the name Nestor and don't think Nestor the molester?
No. You think Nestor the molester?
Yeah.
I think of. So I'm just gonna move on. Zach Gallen versus Kyle Freeland, and that.
I'll take Gallen.
Yeah, big old Colorado matchup there.
Colorado Rockies.
Yeah. Corbin Burns getting the start. Let it burn for the Orioles versus Patrick Sandoval. There's some interesting ones. So it's here, guys. It's baseball time. We're excited. And you know what else you can get thrilled about that has you looking forward to some great deals, some great opportunities to conveniently shop at home and buy some great carpets? Empire Today. So our friends over at Empire Today do a really great job of just simplifying the process. If you're doing a renovation, let's say you want to put in some new hardwood floors or some new linoleum or some new carpet, Empire has you covered. They're the place that allows you to not only see all their great options and products, but you can also do it from the comfort of your home. They've got this virtual option that allows you to be able to see through their virtual floor designer how that new flooring is going to look in your space. Will the flooring, the new tiling match your cabinets and your backsplash? Will that carpet look nice depending on the reflection of, the sunlight coming into your living room? So over at Empire Today with their virtual floor designer, you can see how the floors look in any space, quickly snapping a picture, instantly seeing how those new floors look. They also give you the opportunity to have great prices. So they really pride themselves on convenience, great prices, great customer service, also giving you advice as you're going through the process of looking to buy some flooring and making sure that you can find exactly what you're looking for. They do also have the opportunity for you when you work with them to make sure that you're getting high quality products. You don't want flooring that you're going to have to swap out 3-5 years from now because your dog or your kids have ruined the carpet. So with them, they provide you great quality, great prices, and they won't promise the lowest prices, but they will promise that you'll get prices that best fit you. So head on over now to Empire Today, and when you, as a listener, reach out, you can schedule a free in-home estimate today. All listeners get a chance to receive a $350 discount when you use the promo code PHLY. That's $350 off with the promo code PHLY. There are some restrictions that do apply, but you can see empiretoday.com/PHLY for more details, because over at Empire Today, They are really big on flooring and really big on providing the great and the best opportunities to find what fits you, your decor, your new projects, whatever it is you're looking to renovate and upgrade in your house. So again, EmpireToday.com/PHLY.
Yeah, whether it's an old house, a new house, I want to tell you about my friends over at Mortgage CS because Alec and Ben can help you in many ways. Maybe you're thinking about getting a house in some time. You want to reach out and talk to these guys because the mortgage process and house buying process, all of it, the reality of the situation is it's a nightmare and it's a lot of work. And sometimes you don't know what you're talking about. And Alec and Ben are here to educate and empower you and make the process streamlined and easy for you. Mortgage CS, it stands for the Mortgage Concierge Service. It's a white glove service, and they're an independent mortgage broker based right here in the Philadelphia area. So that gives them full control over who they work with. And literally, they're available 24/7. And it's not just Pennsylvania they deal with. Jersey, Maryland, Maine, California, Colorado, Florida. They can take care of you all over the place. And when I say the process is a nightmare, it's stressful. You got to produce a lot of paperwork. Sometimes offers go in late and you need to hear back right away from your mortgage broker. And they'll do that because Ben is a workaholic in the best possible way. And these are the types of people that you want in your corner when you're going through the process. So text Ben or call him or email him literally anytime. And I guarantee you this guy's going to get back to you as soon as humanly possible. 267-391-7425. That's Ben's phone number. Save it. Talk some smack to him. If you want to send him Jake Arrieta in a thong from a couple opening days ago, do it. Ben's open to it. He'll talk sports with you. Maybe you just need a new friend you want to chat sports with. Ben is there all the time for you, and he's going to help you obtain ultra competitive rates. I have a HELOC out. I want to talk to Ben about, do I have the best financing for this? Is there something I can do? He can just bounce questions off these guys. They're there to help you and alleviate some stress during this process for you. So when you think of mortgages, just think of Mortgage CS. Think of Alec and Ben. Save Ben's phone number, 267-391-7425. Email Ben at ben@mortgagecs.com. You can call or text Ben any time of day or night. Even if you want to just complain about the Sixers or say who you think they should get in Eagles free agency or trade. Check out mortgagecs.com/PHLY to get started. This advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Mortgage CS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker. All loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. Company NMLS ID 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com for more information. But seriously, if you're going through the mortgage process, it sucks. Get some good guys in your corner, and I would recommend that. I have recommended them to friends and family. So no BS there. Check it out. All right, Renee, we are coming up here on the top 3 catchers in Phillies franchise history.
One more thing to add about Ranger that I forgot to add.
Tell me more about Ranger.
Guys, get excited. JB, Ranger set his goal for this year, over 200 innings.
I love you, Ranger.
You're going to possibly
talk dirty to me, Ranger. 200 innings?
Okay.
I'd love to see it. Look, if he can get the one, I'd be happy with 165, 170.
I was going to say,
so
he had 125 innings in 2023. He said 200 innings is his goal. He wants to throw, of course, as much as he can. And you might get to see Ranger for 200 innings.
That would be spectacular. He's never done it in his career. Tyler, you don't have his sheet up, do you? I think he's only gotten to
155. I think he may have been at.
I think just once. Granted, it's only 3 seasons, but there's been some injuries, and
yes, there have been.
Yeah, 155.
Yeah,
2 years ago was his high.
2 years ago, okay.
Yeah.
And last year he was hurt, obviously.
By the way, the Phillies made some more roster moves today.
Oh,
right now?
Yes.
Do you have a breaking news sounder? Can you hit it, Tyler?
No.
Boom, boom, boom.
No.
I think it should be like a don't we have a ding dong?
Probably.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know.
Or like a record scratch.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, we do have a record scratch.
Just wanted to
Nick Nelson has been optioned to AAA.
Good.
Ooh.
And the following players have been reassigned to minor league camp. It includes right-handed pitcher Nick Snyder, outfielders Carlos De La Cruz, Matt Kroon, and Simone Muzziotti, infielder Nick Podgol, and catcher William Simonet.
There you have it. All to be expected. So we're now down probably around 49, 48, something in that range, the 48 to 50 range of players remaining. And that's probably just to get through these remaining games. Last spring training game on Monday. But it looks like, according to some reports, Gelb alluded to it. Looks like the roster could take a little bit of shape by the end of this week. Hopefully Orion is throwing by then. Hopefully Bryce Harper's potentially in the lineup on Friday. But we're getting close to and I think the only real one that's interesting is, does Christian Pache make the team?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But we are getting closer and closer to getting that information. Mickey Durkin in the chat is heading down to Florida, it looks like. Have a great trip, Mickey.
Wow, for the second time.
Second time.
In as many weeks, Mopar is saying.
Wow. Damn, Mickey. Yes, and I think it was Mopar said, get the Orange Crush.
Oh, yeah.
The Orange Crush is quite delicious. So we might as well get to the top catchers in Phillies, the top 3 in all-time in their history, and then we'll wrap up because we might have a coup in the MLB Players Association, and I like that. I like a coup. So let's get to our top 3 catchers all-time. We're rounding out our all-time depth chart here for the Phillies. We will put this out when it is finished very shortly. We just have really pitchers, bullpen, and managers to go. Maybe we could go front office execs if we want to get a little frisky. But we're on catchers now. So let's kick it off with number 3. We're going to go all-time Phillies third best catcher. This was kind of a tough list because 2 guys are left off of it that I think are, deserving. You might even be able to make the case if you really believed it. And it's 2 guys. One's on the Wall of Fame, Mike Lieberthal, and the other is near and dear to my heart, like Ranger.
I know.
ChoochLovesIceCream.com. I love Chooch. But we did not have either of them in the top 3. And I just wanted to give them, their credit because they were really good catchers. And I think going through this now, Tyler, Renee, if you disagree, I think this might be one of their most complete. Like if you were doing top 5s, I would say their catcher top 5 might be one of their stronger positions throughout their history.
Yeah, I think. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, I think one of the first things that jump out at me that is a difference from like first base, for example, is you actually have guys that played a significant amount of time with the Phillies.
Yeah.
And as we're doing this and we're going through their time with the Phillies, it's hard to put somebody in the best ever category when they've only played 2-3 healthy seasons, whereas you get guys that have played, 8, 9, 10, 11 seasons with the Phillies. And not to mention, as we talked about, the accolades, you've got Gold Glove, you've got World Series, you've got All-Stars, you've got a lot of, accolades across this group that it's a very competitive top 5. And Tyler, now I'll let you go.
my bad.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. It's your show.
Tyler really was fighting for Eric Kratz to get in the top 3.
I was fighting for Sal Fasano was my number 1.
Oh, okay. But we had to throw some cold water on him.
I will say, I think, so starting pitching to me is the deepest Phillies depth chart you're going to get. And that probably is expected considering how many guys there are. But I mean, you could go back through the history of Phillies baseball and more decades than not, you're going to find an elite starting pitcher or a really, really good starting pitcher. I think the only ones you won't is, I don't know, the 2010. No, because then you still have Lee, Holiday Lee and Hamels towards the back end. I mean, quite frankly, you're going to find somebody that's really good throughout the decades. So starting pitching to me is the deepest one, but this is a really good catching list.
Yeah, if Lieberthal and Chooch are 2 that are left off, I think it's a pretty good category. All right, so let's kick it off with number 3. Great baseball name. Bob Boon was a Phillies catcher from 1972 to 1981. Won 2 Gold Gloves here, made 3 All-Star games, had the luxury of catching one of the best pitchers ever in Steve Carlton. 10 years with the Phillies. There's his slash line, 259, 325, 346, just shy of 1,000 hits, 65 RBIs. Look, I always kind of view catchers offensively as just like gravy on top. 172 doubles in his career, just shy of 500 home runs, 350 runs scored, 23 stolen bases. As we said, 3-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove. Did win 7 in his 19-year career, but won 2 here Bob Boon, great catcher. He's number 3 for us.
Yeah, only 3 have actually won more Gold Gloves than Boon in their total career. Do you guys know who they are? I'll just tell you. Yadier Molina had 9. Bench. I mean, not.
This is just catchers, right?
These are just
Yeah.
Bench had 10, and Ivan Rodriguez had 13.
Pudge, one of the all-time
Boone,
nicknames.
one of the best, honestly, catchers in baseball history when you look at some of the numbers outside of even just his time with the Phillies. So start off at number 3. Not a bad start to the list at all.
No, Tyler, Bob Boone.
Yeah, I think that this is so. When Bob Boone caught, it was an era of catchers being defensive-minded players. There wasn't a ton of offense to go around. And so the numbers, like you look at them and they don't jar, they're not like jarring and you go, oh my gosh, this guy was such an elite offensive player. But back in, when he was, playing, the elite offensive catchers could probably be counted on one hand. And if you want to even take it a step further, the elite offensive catchers in the 70s and, into the early portion of the 80s could probably be counted on one finger. It was Johnny Bench. And he was the gold standard of catching offensive-minded catchers for quite some time. And quite frankly, Bob Boone won 7 Gold Gloves, and Johnny Bench won, I think, like 10 in a row at one point. From 68 to 77, he won 10 consecutive Gold Gloves. Yeah. Like, Bob Boone probably could have won more if he wasn't in an era that also involved Johnny Bench. And so, like, we talked about with guys like when you think about like a Chase Utley, when we talk about him not winning those Gold Gloves and Brandon Phillips does, it like sometimes you can have an elite defensive player and they just don't get the hardware to show for it because another defensive player was around. Bob Boone was a really great catcher, and I think underrated offensively because he wasn't like a pushover like a lot of defensive catchers were at the time, and an elite defender for his time.
Yeah, like Ed Wright says in the chat, like it's kind of like I can't believe Chooch didn't win a Gold Glove.
No.
And there's a strong case
Yachty was winning all of them.
Yachty or Molina existed and just ate up all those votes. So, yeah, you can very much make the same case for Bob Boone. All right, number 2 on the list. And this is a guy I was this close to putting up a fight to make him number 1, but I'm a coward and I didn't want to get roasted online and flamed for not giving number 1 his respect. But I think you can make the case that this guy is going to be the greatest Phillies catcher of all time. If it wasn't for the longevity, he has nearly almost 450 games less played as a Philly than our number 1. But JT Realmuto is freaking tremendous. He's only been here 5 years. He's approaching 600 games with the Phillies. There's his slash line, 267, 332, 468. When you talk about the inverse of Bob Boone, he is a tremendous offensive player. 581 hits, 95 home runs, 121 doubles, 335 RBIs, 334 runs scored, 63 stolen bases for a catcher.
The guy can move.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. Now, he is a 2-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove winner, and a 2-time Silver Slugger. His career WAR is just barely a point behind number 1 in almost 450 less games. I think when we're talking about this in 2-3 years, and JT has that, 850 games played for the Phillies, I think he's going to be the best catcher in Phillies franchise history. But offensively, when you compare the numbers to him and Dutch, he's going to catch Dutch in a lot of these. But right now, because of longevity, Dutch has the odds, or, the odds are in his favor. But offensively, defensively, he's a great player. He's an athlete. He can run. He can steal bases. He's the modern day catcher that most teams would love to have.
Yeah. And honestly, I think by the end of his career, we'll be having a different conversation if things continue. Just celebrated a birthday this week also, turning 33. Yeah. So happy belated birthday to him. But listen, when you have a single season of the most putouts ever by a catcher in a single season of 1,190. Yeah, like that's insane.
Quickest pop time and fastest arm.
Exactly. The only catcher across the league to have thrown out 10 plus attempted base stealers and stolen, and steal 10 plus bases. JT is the evolution of the catcher, as you were even talking about, Tyler, that gives you a little bit of everything and has consistently been the best catcher in Major League Baseball the last few years. and is just so steady and consistent. So yeah, number 2 without a doubt. When you look at JT's production on both sides of the ball, and he does just even give you a lot more in terms of like leadership and helping this team be what they are. A big part of that is JT. I mean, we have even had people say to us, one of the first things they asked us, like we saw back
the
this
woman
past
on the bus.
week.
Yeah,
like
she
even
goes,
this
"Do you know
past
JT?"
Week. Right,
and
he's one of the
Realmuto?
names. And honestly, I feel like a lot of times when I tell people, oh yeah, I work with the Phillies, and I cover the Phillies and everything, JT is one of the first names that people think of. He's a fan favorite for a reason. So the numbers that he's had, it's remarkable, and he's not done yet.
So his worst pop time as a Philly was his first year in 2019. It was 1.88. He's led the league in pop time each of the 5 seasons that he's been a Philly. Last year, he finished 4th in blocks above average at 12. And the 2 of the 3 guys ahead of him, they're not surprises. It's Sean Murphy at number 1, Alejandro Kirk at number 2. Gabby Moreno is right behind him. You guys know how high of I am on him as a defensive catcher. I think he continues to ascend. I think that JT probably is on the downswing of his career. Like, it's probably not.
Rob Thompson said he's swinging the best bat he's ever seen him swing right now.
And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some semblance of a resurgence in year 30. Was it 32 or 33?
He just turned 33.
Just turned 33.
He's a young
so
33.
He probably has 3 more full seasons as a catcher, which would put him at 8 full seasons as the Phillies catcher. And I think definitively, if he continues even on a trajectory that he's on the last 2 seasons, or last year even when the numbers dipped a little bit, he's going to be the best catcher in Phillies history, I think, by every definable metric. The only thing that he doesn't have that maybe a Carlos Ruiz has is a World Series ring.
Yeah. And look,
but that's not a definable metric to me in terms of like player to player.
Unfortunately, JT is feeling good. He's been talking about how spring training's been going well for him. He's been feeling good. So hopefully this is not a down season for him. I even feel like when you look at the 20 home runs he had last year is what he finished with. JT he's steady, and if he can continue that this year, I think our top 3 catchers by the end of his career again can possibly look a little bit different.
Yeah, and number 1 on the list, the favorite of many Phillies fans. He was the leader, the heartbeat, all of it of the 90s Phillies. He had a career 20.6 WAR with the Phillies. Darren Dalton from 83 through 97, 14 years with the Phillies, just over 1,100 games, 245, 357, 427 slash line, just shy of 1,000 hits, 134 home runs, 189 doubles, 567 RBIs, 489 runs, 48 stolen bases, which isn't bad, but a 3-time All-Star, came 6th in MVP voting in 92, 7th in 93, and he had 109 RBIs in 1992. Dutch was the leader. He was the boss. He was the man. Teammates loved him. Great catcher, and one of the longest tenured Phillies catchers. R.I.P. Dutch. You're a great dude, and had the privilege of getting to know him a little bit, meeting him several times. He was an awesome, awesome guy. Great catcher, and he's number 1 on the list.
Yeah, and that 92 season, he led the NL with those 109 RBIs. I mean, you look at the way that the history that he made. I know a number of you in the chat are saying, K-Red and Mickey, that, he was your favorite. Listen, when you look at the numbers that he's had and that he had in his career, one of only 4 catchers in baseball history to lead his league in RBIs. The others, Roy Campanella, Gary Carter at 84, Campanella in 53, and Johnny Bench, 70, 72, and 74 were the only others to ever lead their league in RBIs. In Phillies history specifically, ranks first at catcher in walks, on-base percentage, 2nd in home runs, RBI, slugging percentage, 4th in doubles, 6th in hits, 1st in B-WAR and F-WAR amongst Phillies catchers in the modern era from 1900 on. His numbers are, as you mentioned, remarkable. And that's why he's another one, a favorite. And Chris is saying the original dude, a favorite for many people that you just enjoyed watching him play.
Still remember Darren Dalton's butt. And there was mania. I remember a specific conversation my mom and my Aunt Joanne were having about how great Dutch's butt was. I remember swimming in the pool. And, I was in my formative baseball years. And I'm thinking about what a great player he was. And here's my mom and aunt talking about Dutch's ass. He was a fan favorite. The ladies loved him. The men wanted to be him. What movie?
Come on. won. Wait, say it. You have to deliver it right, Jamie.
The ladies won. I might be butchering the line now. The ladies.
So while you're
love
thinking
them,
of how to do that, Jamie actually did an Adam Sandler line while we were at spring training, and I got it because you delivered it perfectly like Adam Sandler. You got to give
good,
me,
Daddy.
You got to give me a little bit more.
I'm botching it. It's the Major League 2 Jack Parkman line.
Oh.
The ladies love them, and the men throw up when they see them, or whatever it was. Anyway.
Now you're changing the words.
Yeah, no, I totally butchered this one. Abort. Can you dump this so it's never seen?
I will say one thing I'm thoroughly looking forward to is when we get a day off from each other and I don't have to deal with what movie.
Yeah,
because we've seen each other every day.
Tyler
for the
gets
last,
me
sometimes.
2 weeks.
Yeah, but see, so when you play the what movie, my game is when we go see live music. My game is what band?
Oh yeah, you were torturing me.
You guys kill me with that. What band? What movie?
I did it to Jamie 2 songs in a row, and then every song after that, Jamie would lean over and be like, who is this? And I'm like, dude, we don't have to play anymore.
No, I was hooked.
Y'all love some trivia. It never ends.
Final thoughts on Dutch, Tyler?
I mean, a leader of a clubhouse that was insane, basically. And I never got the chance to meet him. That
gets weighted in this.
Yeah, well, I think it has something to do with it. You be somebody, be a team captain. I view Jimmy Rollins in a light above. Obviously, statistics aside, Jimmy Rollins was the leader of that team. Sure. He was the captain. He was the heartbeat.
He controlled the DJ.
So I don't know about that because so does Garrett Stubbs. But when you're a heartbeat of a team, I think that it does give you some positive reinforcement. But to lead the National League in RBIs as a catcher is significant, considering again that Renee said that only 4 players in history that have done it. And when you talk about the 4 that have done it, it's Roy Campanella, Hall of Famer, Johnny Bench, Hall of Famer, Gary Carter, a really, really, really good player for a really long time. I don't want to say he is or not in because I'm not definitively positive, but a very good player for a very long time. And to be able to have that stat when, we were talking about when catcher, the position has evolved offensively, and you think about guys starting with Mike Piazza and Ivan Rodriguez, even Jason Kendall, who was a super underrated offensive player. And then you go to today's game where there are a handful of offensive-minded catchers such as JT Realmuto, Adley Rutschman now, guys with some pop in their bat, and to have only 4 players ever to do it at that position is significant, and you're one of them.
Yeah.
And then I do weigh a little bit. I weigh good guy, bad guy, and Dutch, from all accounts, is the ultimate good guy.
He was the best.
Everybody loved Dutch. I've never heard a bad word about the man in my life. So I do have to.
John Sequela says Carter's in the Hall of Fame.
He is in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Okay, I wasn't 100% positive. I didn't want to.
Yeah, he's in. But yeah, Dutch, number 1. But could be dethroned by JT with a couple more years out of JT. So that rounds out the top 3 catchers. Tough for me to not have Chooch in there, and Mike Lieberthal's on the Wall of Fame. So, if you did the top 5, those would be 4 and 5, and it's a pretty good position for the Phillies. All right, as we're wrapping up, did just want to mention, the Dodgers did win today, 6 a.m. over in Korea. They take down the Padres 5-1. Only watched a little bit of the game myself because of morning dad duties. But Ohtani got an RBI. Mookie Betts got an RBI.
It's good for my fantasy team.
Yeah,
Fernando Tatis went 0 for 4. It was great.
Yeah, and Tyler Glasnow got his first start and debut with the Dodgers. Obviously, good result there, only allowing 1 run. So the Dodgers, newsflash, they're going to be good at baseball this year.
And we're now getting the Ohtani mania of Mamiko, his wife, getting some
pretty lady.
On. Yeah, now we get to see her. She was out there high-fiving folks, cheering. It's cute. We get to see Mrs. Ohtani out there. That was supposed to be me, apparently.
And the last little nugget before we get out of here, I love a coup, an uprising. And the MLB Players Association has one on their hands. Something to monitor and watch here. As Monday, this kind of broke a little bit, that player leaders are seeking to oust their player union deputy executive director, Bruce Meyer, and replace him with Henry Marino, who unionized the minor leagues, which was big for minor league baseball. It needed that because they were far too often taken advantage of. Meyer's future remains unclear. Player leaders coalesced in recent weeks around Marino with the support of high-powered agents, sources have said. They had a 3-hour-long Zoom meeting on Monday. Players continued to converse about the future of their leadership, which could be determined over the weeks ahead. And there's an uprising. I enjoy that. So I'll be following this story as we move along here.
Yeah. I'm interested to hear a little bit more around the details of it. Exactly what has kind of sparked this uprising and the voting, and for everybody to come forward. It's a couple of things that I've seen so far, but nothing that I know enough of yet to speak on. So I'm still waiting, still reading.
Yeah, it's developing story.
Yeah, it is. We're still getting the details of like what they're talking about, why they're pushing for this change. So it should be interesting.
High-powered agents.
I know. I don't know how far this is gonna go. And
Scott Boras is just butthurt. He had a bad offseason. That's fine with me. Get the uprising going.
Yeah, of course.
Viva la resistance.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for us today. For Tyler Zulli, Renee Washington, we will be back tomorrow, 11 a.m., and that will mark 1 week until opening day, where, again, we'll be down at the Bet Parks down by the stadiums. So if you can, come by. We're going to be doing some Miller Lite specials, a pregame, a watch party, a postgame. We'll be doing it all. So if you can, swing by next Thursday down at Bet Parks down by the stadiums there. And you can join us. We'll high five. If you're going into the game, just say, go Phils. Great to see you. If you want, come hang out with us. Watch the game with us. And we'll be doing pre and post game there as well. To everybody in the chat, let's hit that thumbs up on your way out of here today. Jim and Tim and Chris and Mickey. I saw Derek Bodner slipped in here for a little bit. And Chris Slemmer and everybody else. As always, we appreciate you for giving us your time. We love you. Baseball is close.
8 days.
Hark the angels sing. We will see you tomorrow. Bye.
We all silly like the